we're going to make another pizza, and this one has artichokes in it. And the reason I'm doing this is because if you've ever visited Sicily, you know that artichokes are very dear to the heart of Sicilians. And I want to stretch it out so that it fits into my pan, and I'm using a regular cookie sheet for this. So I've got it long enough, but now I have to get it wide enough. So you just keep stretching like this. So we'll give it a couple more turns here before I try to fit it into the pan. You want to use a regular cookie sheet that you've greased like this. So there's our pan. I'm going to take this dough and I'm going to leave it right like this until we make the topping, and then I'm going to stretch the rest of it right out. So as we make the rest of the toppings, this is just going to relax very nicely, and I'm going to be able to fit it the entire width of the cookie sheet. So we're going to leave this over here for now and talk about the sfigno. So a little bit of olive oil in a pan, maybe a tad more there. Throw in our onions, get that going. And for this, we're using, instead of prepared tomato sauce, we're using fresh plum tomatoes. You want about a cup and a half of really beautiful tomatoes. And there they are. And now we can put those in with the onions. We're going to use Pecorino Romano, or you could use Pecorino Siciliano. That would be even better because we're talking about Sicily. So sheep's milk cheese, which is right here, a salty cheese, and we're going to use this. This is something called ricotta salata. That means that is salted ricotta cheese, and we need to grate that. So let's grate up some of the salted ricotta, and you can find salted ricotta in your grocery store. And it grates very easily. So this is just ricotta cheese, and of course if you visited Sicily, you know that they produce a lot of ricotta cheese, but they also make ricotta salata cheese. So there is our ricotta salata all mixed and ready to go. Now we need to add some sugar in with the tomatoes and the onions, just to sweeten those tomatoes a little bit. And then an unusual flavor in this particular pizza, nutmeg. I know what you're saying, but yes, nutmeg. So a grinding of fresh nutmeg goes in. That is our sauce. We have our sauce, our cheese, and now what about the artichokes? There are our artichoke hearts, and you mix that in and just let that cool down a bit before you put that on your pizza. Those nice artichoke hearts, the tomatoes, the fresh tomatoes that we used, the onions that we cooked. I think this is a beautiful pizza, very unusual and very reminiscent of being in Bella Sicilia, which I keep telling you is part of my heritage. So spread it out nicely on the dough. You want to cook it down so that you know it's fairly dry and you're not putting a lot of extra juice on the dough. And then all we have to do is add our cheeses to this, and we're ready to go into the oven. This is going to cook at 425 degrees, for about 20 minutes or so. That look pretty? Very pretty. Now, here's our cheese. We've got those two cheeses. Remember, we have the Pecorino Siciliano, or can't find that, you could use the Romano, which is much more readily available. You spread that on over the top, and then you add that beautiful ricotta salata. Isn't it pretty? It reminds me of beautiful white shoelaces. That's what it reminds me of. So I'm going to put all of it on because I like this cheese. And then all this needs, again, is a little bit of olive oil. So a little drizzle over the top. This is a great pizza for a party because it can serve a lot. 15, 20 minutes later, you have pizza.